Fine. Dan, what are we talking about today?
Asana.
Asana.
Acting like I don't know. Of course I know. She's trying to call me out. How's Laura doing?
Good. How about you?
Doing great.
Did you get a chance to look at the links I sent you, or do you need somebody to contact you separately about the Sylvia system?
Oh, the reason I was asking for that's right. You completely caught me off guard there.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to throw it out there.
Forgot what we were talking about last week.
Well, come on, are we not the most important thing?
No, I actually took your links and I sent them to an agent who just joined EXP.
Okay.
And they've been asking for help with KV Core, right? That's what it was, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
okay, great.
That's gonna be great for them because I don't know. We don't use KV Core. I mean,
right.
I should have. I didn't. My problem is that there's great services out there like you that exist, and I didn't know that even existed before, to be honest with you. So
Sylvia created it, right? She created it after she joined EXP, and people were having so much difficulty. So, and she's just really good at that kind of stuff. So
I think KV Core is a great system. I just didn't take the time to learn it.
You have to use it, right, to get to leverage what's in there. I get it.
So do you guys use KV Core exclusively right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you guys get a lot of leads through the website then?
Well, it's not a lead generation tool. It's a CRM tool that you can leverage, for your marketing, and it can help you generate leads, but it's really a CRM tool that you use and build your website off of and leverage your tools that way. But it's very powerful.
You guys have any luck with getting SEO and kind of getting towards the top of Google with the website?
Yeah, well, Sylvia is pretty adept at that, but we, for her particularly, because of, we have several employees now and some other things going on, we have just hired somebody that does all that for us. But SEO management and all of that fun stuff. But
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We're doing that same stuff, except we're using Brevity right now. But I wish
I
wish I would have actually learned. I wish I would have learned Brevity or KV Core a long time ago, because I didn't have anything for a long time until I got into Brevity, and it just have a huge window of time that just I didn't have any online presence at all. So
yeah, it's a lot of work. I mean, it's a lot of people. That's what a lot of people hire VAs to do. So
it's honestly it's great, and plus you get it for free when you're with certain brokerages. So
EXP, and some other brokerages as well.
I think there is another brokerage that's going to KV Core, actually.
Could be. I know a lot of Keller Williams people use it.
Oh, really? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they don't use
Remax. But not all of them, they all different, ones have different programs.
Absolutely. Well, cool. We got a good group of people here today, and Jason hopped on too.
Hey guys.
Who is here for the first time? Anybody? Maureen, I don't know if I recognize the name. Kristen, Melvin, Jess. I'm not sure if maybe we have couple new people here.
Yeah, I'm new.
Yeah, I was here last week.
You were here last week. Okay, awesome. How about Jason?
Yeah, it's my first time today.
First time? Okay, cool. We have some first timers here. So I'm going to kind of hop on and do a quick introduction of us, and then we'll hop into it. So I'm Dan Gjerseth, started in real estate a couple of years ago, and team leader of Dan Realty Group here in Wisconsin. And the reason why I found Sphere Rocket, because obviously you guys all know who Sphere Rocket is if you're here on this meeting. I was actually Justin Nelson's very first Sphere Rocket VA client that hired the very first VA through his system. And back then we didn't have any training or support or tools or systems built out, because I was the very first person. And so I found him on a real estate page talking about how virtual assistants can help. And Justin Nelson, his dad actually had started a real estate company when Justin was about 15 years old. And so he had a lot of experience with virtual assistants, and knew the value of it. But that was his first time placing a VA with somebody like myself. And so here we are today. Now we're doing coaching with them, and so excited about that. Back then I was doing about 40 transactions, and then I jumped up to 62 the year I hired my virtual assistants. And then this last year we did 93. And this year our goal is to hit 150. So we're on track. We're on track to pace off at like right at 130. So we're gonna have to come up with 20 more deals here between now and the end of the year that are extra on top of what our current pace is. So pretty fun. And I've loved all of our virtual assistants that we've worked with, and have just gotten to know Jason, who is on Jason. How do you say your last name, Jason?
I'm sorry, we have two Jasons, right?
You, Jason.
Okay, all right. It's Cualquiera.
Jason
Actually, it's
Cualquiera.
a Spanish, yeah. Jason Cualquiera.
Jason's been on our team for about 7 months now. So he is our very own in-house TC that's been a transaction coordinator. And then Morgan Yeager over here, who's been on our team since September. So coming up like 8 or 9 months as well. And she is our director, our operations manager. And so we got the whole team here on the operations side of the business, and I'm excited to kind of hear what you guys have to say. And today's topic is we're going to be talking about Asana. So who has actually worked on Asana here before? So Jess, you've used Asana. Jason, both Jasons, have either one of you guys used Asana before?
No, we're not. That's the same thing.
No,
I haven't
okay.
tried.
Gotcha. So the reason why this is week 2 is last week we kind of talked about like what is it the first week with the virtual assistant, how to make sure it's going to be a successful relationship. This week we start talking about Asana and the process building platform that we used when we first got started. I know when I first got my virtual assistant, I was like, I don't know how the heck to do anything here. I didn't have any processes built up. Everything was stuck up in my brain. And I had to take what was in my brain and put it on a documented checklist for my virtual assistants to essentially go through and make sure that we could run that process without me necessarily being hand in hand with everything. So the system could kind of work itself with the virtual assistant helping. So now we have all systems, but we started off with Asana, which is what I recommend everybody starting off with to document your process. How do you do things? So Morgan, does anybody have any questions on that so far? Laura, have you used Asana before?
No, they started the process, but we found out it didn't have the email feature did not work for us. So it didn't have the proper emailing feature for our system. I'm sure it would have been fine for real estate, but it doesn't work for the Sylvia system. So
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's just a very, very elementary grade. Okay, this is how we're going to start this process, and then you can kind of upgrade into a more expensive or more elaborate system.
yes.
Oh, cool. Jason, do you want to introduce yourself quick?
Okay. Hi guys. Okay, I know it's me. Hey guys, I'm Jason and I'm from Philippines. I'm in Davao City, and I'm the TC now, main TC of Sir Dan's Realty Group. And tips for VAs: just be on time, just digest the knowledge that you are getting, and then always take notes, notes, everything, so that whenever you need help, you can just go back to your notes. And what else? Try to gain more knowledge, upskill yourself. In that way, you can, you can do good in this business. So VAs.
That's tips from a wise man right there. Awesome. Thanks, Jason. Morgan, you want to take it away?
Yes. So I'm just going to cover a basic overview of Asana, and then I'll throw it back over to Dan because he used to use Asana in his whole process. So I'm just going to scratch the surface and then we'll look a little bit more into Dan's actual old Asana too. So you can see like how we used to use Asana for each file that went under contract. So I'm going to share my screen. If you guys are starting Asana, Sphere Rocket recommends you go to asana.com/pricing first, just so you guys know, for a heads up if you guys decide to try this out. There's like no need for you guys to be paying for a premium or a business account. Even Justin and his team use the basic account. So if you get started with a basic account right here, as opposed to just signing up on the regular Asana website, they're going to try to charge you after your free premium subscription trial is ended. So go into the basic, get started, put in your email and your password, and then I will show you what my Asana looks like. So how to set up your Asana, we recommend that you have your daily, weekly, and monthly for your VA or for your team, along with like some smaller tasks, like one-time tasks. And then you can start building out your like seller under contract and buyer under contract plans and duplicate them for each one of your processes. So I'm just going to go one by one through what I mean by these. Okay, so for example, we have, this is for our social media specialist slash video editor. And we break down what we expect of them when they come to work all the way until the end of the day. So we break it down by time. That's the most helpful thing that we have found. So if I wanted to add a task to 9 a.m., I could just click right here and say, check in with Dan on Slack. And then right here, you can go into details. And here I can assign it to whoever needs to do it. I'm just going to assign it to myself. I'm going to have it due every day, Monday through Friday. And I'm going to have it due at 9:05. And then I can put in a description here on how to check in. So check in on Slack. It could be something like notify of progress and any questions. From here, we can add subtasks, etc. But then in my task list, I will have a notification every day at 9 a.m. to check in with Dan on Slack. And so that's just a little bit of an example of how you can start building out your processes in Asana. Another thing that we have, and maybe it's better, Dan, could you log into your Asana and show like a past file that we've done for transaction management?
Yeah, one of the most helpful things is that not only can you build out like a job checklist, but you can also build a whole process. So day one, it's this. So like you can open up a project, a templated project, and say every time you have a transaction that goes under contract, day number one, this is what happens. The emails go out to cooperating agents. Day number 2, we follow up with the buyer's agent and make sure that they send docs off to their lender, and then a week into the process, so 5 days down the road, you can make sure that the let's say if you're on the buyer side, you can make sure that the buyer has actually set up the inspection. So you can make a whole process checklist here. I'm going to log into my own and show you guys how I used to use it.
And while Dan is logging in, if you guys come for the next couple weeks, we'll actually break down what our team does for all of our processes for our TC work. And those processes you guys can put into your own Asana, so you wouldn't even have to build out your own. So that's kind of why we're teaching you guys this first, so that when you come back and learn like our open house process or our buyer under contract process, you can take what you learned and put it into your own Asana or your own transaction management system.
Yep. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So when I first started building out this process, I was all over the place. My brain, it took me a while to kind of wrap my brain around. Since I've been doing it all from my own memory and own knowledge, it took me a lot to say, okay, I'm going to put what I do on paper and or in Asana, and basically so that somebody else can run this process and try to figure out, okay, what do they need to do versus what I need to do. And so we just kind of jumped in and said, okay, what are the first things that I normally do when I put a deal under contract? So one of the first things I do is on the seller side is change the active offer status on the MLS, or active status on MLS to active offer. That's one thing. Look up the agent who got the deal under contract with. The second thing we do is we send the under contract paperwork to the title company. And here's how we do it. So I'm going to go on to our buyer under contract. And so here's week 1. Upon receiving the executive offer to purchase, contact the buyer, the very first thing. So deal opens up. We have the very first thing we do is reach out to the buyer. Now, this is our old virtual assistant. We don't use Asana anymore, but this is an example of how we did use it when we had it. The second check would be gather and set up contact info for all parties. So here's just task lists that everybody needs to do whenever this process is duplicated into another file. And so the cool thing about this is that once you have a template built out, you can just duplicate that. So right here it says duplicate project. So let's say I have 5 deals under contract and I just got another one under contract. I can say duplicate. I can say I can just say 233 Main Street, Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Create project. And now I have each project has its own checklist and they have their own process, and we can actually update each one as it goes. So here we are. So now I'm in its own the process, or this own specific addresses processing. So 233 Main Street, Eau Claire, buyers under contract. So blah, blah, blah. First thing, call it buyer. Let's say I checked all that stuff off. Week number 2, confirm title orders received. And nice thing is you can actually create subtasks. So you can see within this, so check if there is inspections on the offer to purchase. So send inspector contact information to buyer client if it's checked yes. So here's a well and septic inspector. Here's our other inspector. So if that box is checked yes, that virtual assistant is actually the one sending off the contact information for our home inspector. At this point in the process, is a really good chance that the agent has already had a conversation with that buyer. Okay, here's our inspectors, and we're going to be sending that contact info out the day we get under contract. This is the same day, week 1. So the very first week, we're sending out the contact information. And same thing down here. Let's see here. So follow up with buyer and client. So here's a couple of things that week number 2, we're following up with them. Home inspection report, just to text them, ask them, double check that they've scheduled that. And if they haven't, they need contact info again. What do they need? And you can actually make a subtask to the task. So week 2, task, subtasks, and now here is a subtask within the task within the task. So you can kind of get detailed on what specifically needs to happen. And if something, let's say, for example, this happens, okay, cool. Check that off. And it's gone.
Okay.
Pre-closing. And Jason, we already do this in our process, right? This is just a whole different system that we use.
Yes.
Why don't you kind of talk to everybody about how helpful this is? And if there's a virtual assistant here and their boss doesn't have a current process like this, I would really, really encourage you to introduce something like this and help them start building this out. This is going to be huge value if your boss doesn't have a process system like this and they're kind of struggling. They don't really know what you need to do. Just go out of your way and literally say, hey, I'm going to start building out this Asana process. Can we sit down for like 2 or 3 hours and just hash out what you do? And it's going to help them. It's going to help them save hours and hours and hours in the long run. And you're going to be hugely valuable for your team by taking that initiative to make that happen. Jason, do you want to kind of talk about how helpful that this, like one of these processing systems is for you?
Me.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Upon checking on this one, it really shows it's the same process that we have on our CRM Brevity. So I can see that it's somehow the same. It's just that the how to say this one, the Asana looks like, the task is it showed all at once compared to Brevity that we have like in a day you need to check this one or do this task.
Yeah. So what do you like specifically about having, I mean, it's obvious. It basically tells you what you need to do every day. That's the whole point. Does anybody here not have a processing system currently in place for what they do throughout the day in a checklist? Other Jason Ray Ortega, you have one?
Yeah. We're currently implementing the checklist, and I'm trying to propose this idea to David.
Gotcha. So you are in the process of implementing this into your business right now.
Oh, I cannot imagine, don't having any process like this one. Yeah, it's really difficult to to track the flow of the transaction if you don't have any of this. So for those companies that doesn't have like this, yeah, Sir Dan said, like, as a agent, you really know the flow of the business, like when transaction goes into under contract, so you can notes on those, like today do like this on the 3rd week, or maybe you can buy this from Sir Dan, the flow that we have if you are from Wisconsin. Actually, this one is I have other agents like my friend, they know that you can really sell this information to your client, so take notes. This one is really, yes, it's really helpful in processing the transaction. So
Hey,
Yeah.
Dan, I have a question because I've personally never used this before, and like I'm kind of like learning with everybody else too. I know from our point, like me and Jason use the notes a lot in our CRM to make updates, or like just so that the agent knows what's going on when we do like weekly calls, or like if someone needs to do remote signings or whatever. So what would you recommend these people use to take notes?
Notes within this file?
Yeah.
I know there is a way to do so.
Okay.
Let's see here.
Otherwise, I was thinking, like, do you just make a task that says notes and just never check it off?
You could have something like that. Yeah, you could very easily have just add task.
Yeah.
Notes. There. Now you have a spot where you're constantly taking notes. You just go in here and whatever.
Gotcha.
And one of the nice things, guys, is I'm just gonna try to look for one of the subtasks that we actually created videos for, because we did it a lot. especially with the,
I think you have one for sky slope.
there it is. Oh yeah, guys, so this is important. So if you're building this out, if you want to make it even more simple, so setup files in SkySlope, we actually took a video. So not only do we make the step, so here's a step, here's a subtask, here's the steps we're doing. So we actually made a YouTube video. We recorded us doing this, and we literally just explain the whole process. So there's no confusion involved, because if you have a question about the step, go watch the video. Go keep watching it until you get it down. Whenever we have an off-shooting situation that is abnormal or it's out of the norm, we actually just put like a little note in there and say, hey, if this happens, now here's how to resolve that. So it was always very kind of self-cleaning, and it would kind of, we have an issue here. How do we solve it? How do we go back in the system and rearrange the steps that we do things, or add a note in there, or add an extra line to put into our compliance department, that we're never gonna have that problem again. Because I've, here's one crazy thing that I did for years. I kept getting, I probably had $2,000 worth of extra charges because we would forget to let the buyer know that they owed money on LP gas, and it would get to the day of closing. We never reminded the client that they owed money, or actually never let the cooperating agent know that their client owed our client like $300 or $400 for LP gas. And not even kidding, $2,000 right off the window, until one day I said, why does this keep happening? I sat down with our operations team and said, okay, where can we add this reminder in here? And how can we never have this problem ever again? It took us 20 minutes. We put this little step in our process to double check if there's LP tank there and who owes the LP. Have not owed a single dollar on that ever since we made that change. That took 15-20 minutes to do. Could have saved myself $2,000. So yeah, that's huge. So virtual assistants on here, if there's something that keeps arising, there's issues that keep arising in the process. Sometimes it's great if you could take the initiative and say, okay, what is the issue here? And how can we go back into our process and fix this issue? We do that every day. Jason, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you're always looking for quirks and issues and hiccups in our process to fix that I don't even know about, because you just do them. But yeah, it's one of the best things to do. And it's really the only way to build your process, because no process is going to be perfect. We're still to this day improving and changing our process.
Yeah, we just changed something this morning in our transaction management system. So it happens quite often. I'm just going to share my screen one last time for you guys too, and show you if you guys want to learn more about Asana, this Sphere Rocket training that either you or your lead agent or whoever will have access to it. If you go into this training, they have a whole bunch of trainings for VAs and anybody in Sphere Rocket. And if you go into the Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistant Launch Program, there's more in-depth videos of how to start Asana. It covers it a little bit just more in depth than we did. So there's that video to check out. So I'll send you guys that link. And then also in this transaction coordination tab, there is also, let's see, there's an Asana video and Asana templates that you guys can take for yourself and start implementing on your team, and you can change them to however you need to. And then there was also a Facebook group. This one for anyone who's a TC is called TCs Empowering TCs, and it's a mastermind for transaction coordinators. So if you have any questions, you can throw it in there, and other TCs who have been doing this for years can help answer your questions. So those are just a couple of resources to use. And if you have questions too, feel free to reach out to our email, dan@sphererocket.com, and we can help you guys set up your processes too, or look them over, give advice. We're here to help any way we can. So
Appreciate you guys. Do you guys have any questions about Asana or building out processes? I love these kind of questions because I think they have the biggest impact on your business growth and scalability standpoint. And it makes VA's lives a lot easier because I know there's a lot of VAs in this call. So makes all your lives a lot easier. Questions you guys got? Oh, we need at least one question before we hop off this. It can't be Laura. I'm just gonna Jason, you call on somebody.
Bravo. Alra Bravo.
Who's Bravo?
Alra.
Oh, gotcha. Alra, you here? How about Maureen? You got a question?
No, actually, I'm new to Asana. We haven't tried this before yet. So I'm still working out the task. So it's really, really helpful that we have these things going on. I'll definitely check out the Kajabi to learn more about, and I've seen the templates that you have in Kajabi as well. So I'm gonna check on that, and then I'll just let you guys know if I have questions.
Awesome. That's so cool that you're starting to work on this process right now. It's so cool. Glad you hopped on this call with us.
And the next week we have our buyer transaction process. And then from there, we've got our pre-listing, listing, open houses, seller under contract. So basically everything you guys are going to need from a transaction standpoint, we are going to be going through. So
awesome. So excited, guys. Well, I hope you guys have a great week and we'll see you next week. Laura, nice seeing you again. And everybody else too. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.